All right, guys, how's our day going? So today we're going to be looking at skills required in tech industry. I was majorly going to look at non-technical roles in tech, but I decided to just go further, like enhance it further by just looking at skills required in tech industry because there are no number of skills required in tech industry. And we need to understand where everyone plays. We've done this kind of course before. We've done it last 2 years or so. We're going to go through it again. Um, and this time around, I'm going to just explain more things in more details. So we're going to look at different responsibilities, different roles, different departments in like a typical tech organization, whether it's kind of like a startup or is a big organization. There are different skills required, and there are different places where people can find themselves no matter their qualification and no matter their skills. So, so let's start from the beginning. So imagine your bet are you following and she wants to start a tech career. So we're just looking at different roles. So for the intro, there are diversity of skills in the tech industry. Tech industry has a large diversity of skills. A lot of ways people can get involved in the tech industry. You don't have to just be doing one thing. You can actually do like you can actually. It's not only just put that right sit around and write code. There are a lot of things that are involved in the tech industry because what we work on is actually real world problems. Is that we're working on a business service or working on a product. So all those kind of stuff. So when I mean like a business service, um, companies like agencies, companies like agencies, companies like agencies work on like different kind of things like consulting, security service, helping to do site maintenance and all those kind of stuff. So those are like service roles. Why products define tech companies are tech companies that are into building products. Like for example, now let's say product defined tech companies. You have things like Piggyverse, Paystack, um, Paystack, a number of them, Flutterwave, all these popular tech companies we hear of in Nigeria, fintechs, and so like if we look abroad, we have things like Coinbase, Amazon, Google, all this kind of stuff. Although Google does both services and Google and Amazon does both services and products, but it's kind of like an industry. You're actually building, you're actually rendering a business service or you're rendering a product to people. So there are different diversity of skills needed to get this done. So we're going to look at teams. So you have the internal teams in a distance. You have the internal teams. We're going to concentrate on internal teams. So when we look at the internal teams, you have like the product team, which we have the UI UX, those who do user interface design and user experience design. You have QA, quality assurance. You have that on the product side. You also have those who handle quality assurance on the engineering side. You have the product team. These are like the product owners and the product manager. They are different. They sound like somewhat alike, but product owners and product managers are kind of like different people. They handle different roles in like the product life cycle, and it's very important to know what the products what the product owner does and what the product manager does and how they are different. So you have the software engineers. These are the ones that work on building like they work on the code, the team that work behind the scenes. So they work on the code, they build the stuff, they make sure that the app looks good and every other stuff. You have the DevOps engineer. Sometimes you have six ops, you have like the infrastructure team, wherever it is. Most right now in modern times we call it DevOps. Um, this team is responsible for making sure the site is always online, making sure the site is available worldwide, is available everywhere. We're going to go deeper into like explain what this all these skills does, not this kind and just basic responsibilities of each member of all these teams. But look, just take this explanation that a DevOps team makes sure that the site is online all the time, the site is always available. Um, there's no downtime. So, for example, now sometimes you can see like maybe in Twitter now, like Twitter can go down. The DevOps team is going to like be around the clock to make sure that Twitter is back up and working very well. So that's why you have the DevOps team. They're making sure that everything is available and stuff like that. In very big organizations, especially if your company has up to 100,000 users or 1 million users, you what the importance of this guy here. Without this guy, your pro to just go through a lot of stress and you spend a lot of money on cloud services. So if you want to reduce the cost on like infrastructure services and all these kind of things, like all these very tough stuff like hosting, making your site available worldwide, all these things. Having a very good DevOps personnel, having very good DevOps personnel is very important. It's very crucial. Mm, we also have quality assurance here. And now we have the data team, we have the data scientists and data engineers, we have the database administrators, or we have the business intelligence people. Um, we now have the growth team, where we have the creatives. We're going to go more into these guys as we go on. We have the analytics teams and we have the growth team. Sometimes they can have like analytics, people run analytics and so separately from those who are running growth. And sometimes those running analytics can also be part of the data team. But in this analytics I'm talking about here, it's just defined into like the business needs of the company. Like what are the business targets, what are the business needs, who are the people who are supposed to meet, what are the metrics who are supposed to be hitting. So those are the kind of metrics they check. Then the growth team just make sure that the company is keep on growing, the company is actually acquiring more users, the company is actually getting more popular among people. Then you have the internal, like the management team, like the internal management team. Those are the people that manage people. So you have the people groups. I'm going to explain like very much into this. You have the operations and you have accounting. You have the support and sales teams where you have the accounts, marketing, and tech support, which is very important. Where you have like people like the help decks, what are they called again? Customer support and all this and this other thing. So we're going to look into a few of these things um more. So let's go into the engineering team. So engineering team, if they are building a complete robust team, like if the team is completely robust, you're more likely to see this kind of stuff anywhere you see an engineering team. So you have a tech lead. This is the lead engineer, or sometimes you call them the senior engineer or the engineering manager or tech lead. Sometimes they call them engineering manager. Sometimes they call them tech lead. Sometimes they call them um, engineer level one. Also, depending on the kind of company you're working for, they have different levels. So this the tech lead is one in charge of the total engineering around like the product of it, the product, the total engineering, managing the engineer. So every single guy in this team. So let's say Oliver here is the tech lead. He manages Siri, he manages Andy, he manages Karim, manages Evans, he manages Julie. He makes business decisions. He makes decisions on how the product is going to be built, engineering decisions. He makes all those decisions on like design of the app, how the app is going to be designed, how the app is going to look like, how the app is going to function. He makes all those decisions before going on to build the product and acts. He also makes decisions on what steps the team has to take in implementing particular features, implementing particular like standards within the team. He draws up all those rules. Like for example, in my company now we have like engineering guidelines. We have engineering guidelines. So if you're to build anything, it has to fall into engineering guidelines. you have to be following the guidelines. You can't just come in and just type any code anyhow and just submit your stuff. It will get rejected. You have engineering guidelines. So he's the one that ensures all those standards are being kept. Everyone is doing what they are supposed to do. Everyone is doing the right thing within the engineering team. So he's the one that is in charge of that. And he also interfaces with the product team and some other team, like the CTO, interfaces with the CTO, interfaces with the CTO is the chief technical officer. Sometimes in a small team, the team is very small. The technical lead can also be the CTO. But the team is bigger, and they have like different other aspects. Like for example, let's take an example like let's take an example like Google now. Google has different aspects of it. Like Google has Google Search. There's the search team. There's a team in charge of docs. There's a team in charge of cloud. So this kind of all these departments have their different tech leads. All these different sections, these different products built by Google have different tech leads that are in charge of them. Do you understand what I mean? So in charge of all these teams is a tech lead that leads every single member of the team on what to do and what next to do. The next guy you have there that is also very valid and important is the DevOps engineer. Um, like I explained, DevOps is their primary purpose is to make sure that the site is always up and running all the time. The site functions well. Um, they actually do like crash analysis of the site, make sure that the site deploys everywhere. Like for example, now, um, if the company is about to expand to, let's say, Europe, like let's say you have an application you built for Africans, and you want to expand to, let's say Europe, because Europe is close to Africa. Let's say Asia, like China and some other places. The DevOps team has to make sure that they are able to secure infrastructures that are close to those users. So they kind of do those kind of stuff. They kind of make sure that infrastructure is close to those users. Make sure that there's something called latency. The latency is lower. You have low latency to the user. What means latency is, when you click on a site, you click on opening a site, you see that the site is loading. Do you understand? Before that site loads fully, are you following? And you see the full content. That's what you call latency. So you're trying to make sure the latency of whatever service or product you're building is very low, is very small. So that's what the thing about the DevOps this thing. So you might just within DevOps team, it can also be an entire team there where you have the cloud engineer, you have the DevSecOps, you have the person who's managing security, you have all this kind of stuff. But like, let's just look at a formal team, like before the team gets more advanced, like before the team gets into enterprise level, you might just have a simple DevOps engineer that's just ensuring that the site is always up, the site is always functional, the site is well hosted, and it's like the site is not crashing. When, like, let's say, like when they are doing, like, let's say you're building an e-commerce site, and when you have like peak periods, like say, let's say Black Friday, where you have like a lot of customers coming to your app to buy things. Like, let's say your typical traffic is around 500, but during Black Friday you have up to 500,000 people trying to buy things from your site. That's a lot of load. So DevOps engineer needs to like plan for that ahead to make sure that that kind of load is handled properly, so the site does not crash when you're trying to use it. I've noticed that sometimes when you're trying to use some sites, it's like crash. Like for example, now let's look at one very quick example: Nigerian elections. They didn't even have like, I'm sure they didn't even like. Although I think that everything was following within the elections, but for them to tell you that this thing was unable to upload, that means they didn't do very good DevOps. They didn't really deploy it in such a way that it was able to handle the load of millions of people. Do you understand what I mean? Like for Nigeria, we have the money, for God's sake. We're supposed to do we're supposed to put it in an infrastructure that can handle millions of requests at the time. So there was no excuse for what Nigeria did during elections. Anyway, Sha, let's go into the next engineer, and we have the mobile engineer. So we have Andy, yeah. So Andy is the mobile engineer. So Andy, what his job is to make mobile apps. So let's say for any platform, you have like iOS, you have Android, you have I think that's like that's basic to major phone OS out there. There's no other phone OS that is out there right now. It's just iOS and Android. So he that builds for iOS. iOS is like for Apple products like iPhone, MacBook, sorry, not MacBook, iPads, and so he builds for that. He builds products for that. So you can think about cool apps you have on your phone, like Facebook, like WhatsApp, all these kind of things. They're the ones responsible for building that interface that you actually interact with. That's mobile engineer. I think that's simple to understand. So any mobile product you have, whether a phone or a tablet, mobile engineer makes sure that they build native apps. What I mean native apps is like an app that can actually exist on its own without you having to visit the internet on a particular device. That's what you call a native app. To make sure they build native apps that for the particular OS of your phone. So they can either specialize in iOS or they can specialize in Android or they can specialize in both. You understand? They can specialize in both, but that's what they do. Now let's look at Karim. Karim is a front end engineer developer. So a front end developer, what he does is that he develops the front facing feature of a website. So let's say the Facebook now, those interfaces you see, the pictures you see, and all these kind of things, how the thing appears, how everything is arranged. The front end developer make sure that he does all those kind of stuff. The interactions when you click on something, the loading, how data is being fetched into the site, and every other thing. The front end engineer handles that. Also make sure that the site is also secure and the site loads fast and everything. Like when you click on a picture, it actually pops out fast and some other things. You have to make sure he makes sure. Like front end engineering, when you start working in companies like this, there are a lot of things involved. It's not just about how the site looks. That's just one small aspect of it. You have to think about you have to think about web metrics, web vitals, accessibility, people that are blind, people that cannot see, people that have disabilities, for them to be able to use your site very well. You also have to think about there's something I remembered. Internationalization, like presenting a site in different languages. Because when you're building different sites, let's say you're going to like an Arab company now to build a site, a front engineer has to handle a front end developer has to handle the translation of the site for that particular region. So automatically it's supposed to check for that region. Like for example, if you're in Saudi Arabia, it's supposed to check for the region. Oh, this person is from Saudi Arabia. To translate your site to Arabic, or this person is from Italy to translate your site to Italian. This person is from Netherlands, is going to translate your site to Dutch, and some other things. So one thing about front end engineering is that there are some advanced aspects, video and some other things that are done in front end. But anything that you see on the screen, anything you can see, user can interact with on their browser. The front end engineer is like in charge of that. Then you now have the back end engineer. The back end engineer is in charge of every single business logic that happens behind the scenes. For example, now let's take an example of your bank apps. So you just pay. Let's say you pay for a product, and you do a transfer to someone. Money is debited from your account. Are you following? Money is debited from your account, and money is credited to your account. That process that happened, you didn't do anything about it. In fact, you're not even involved in it. You didn't do anything about it. But you see that different stuff happened behind the scenes. For example, now in when you guys visited Dome Academy website, you guys to sign up for this webinar, some of you signed up for this webinar using Dome Academy's website. When you clicked on register, you got an email sent to you. Are you following? That email was sent to you from the back end of the site. It wasn't like from the front end. We didn't do anything. It was sent to you from the back end. It was orchestrated from the back end. The logic of sending you the email, knowing exactly how to write the email and every stuff was sent to you from the back end. So the back end handles those kind of things. There are different kinds of things you can handle in the back end. I won't go into it because of want of time. You now have the quality assurance person. What the quality assurance engineer is in charge of is making sure that the every single aspect of the application, every single aspect of the products the team builds work very well, like work up to standard, like they're 101% good. I mean, like um, there's a trend on Twitter where you see like developers and UI designers, UI UX designers fighting. They've not like designers have nothing on quality assurance engineers. Like quality assurance, they will intentionally try to break something. That's their job, trying to intentionally try to make stress your app to breaking point to ensure that you're doing things right. That's one thing about quality assurance people. Like I have one quality assurance guy. Like, oh, there was a time that I even got angry. I was like, "What is this? What is your problem? Like, why can't you just allow this thing to just pass?" And so but he had to make sure everything was up to standard. He had to make sure that even things that because users are going to do some weird stuff, you're also going to have bad actors on the product and so the quality assurance engineer and personnel make sure they check for all those things. They also do automated tests, end-to-end tests, automated tests. They do like something you call smoke tests. There are different types of tests they do. Um, they do regression tests, all different kinds of tests they do. I can't go into all those things, but when you have a quality assurance person, just make sure you just know that it's more likely to actually build very good products. I'm sure like GT Bank when they released their products, when they were building their product, they didn't have anybody doing quality assurance for them. That's why they released a very buggy app. But if you have a quality assurance person, I'm sure that app won't be if you have a very good quality assurance person, the likelihood of that app being very buggy will be lower. So you now have the product team. Now, these are the team that actually decide how the product is going to be like, how the product is going to, what the product is going to like, how the kind of problems the product is going to solve for people. So I'm not going to start with the product owner. I'm going to start with the product manager. So the product manager is somebody that does like so what this product manager does, like product manager does a lot of stuff. The product manager like does research, handles stakeholders like both the CEO, engineers, different members of the team that build the product together to ensure that the product they build is up to standard, solves the particular problem that the company is trying to solve, and also that they're able to deliver in time and able to like meet targets. Do you understand? They're able to like meet targets. And the product manager is always supposed to make sure that they are constantly improving the product to better meet the needs of the user and suggesting like good, better features, actually like better features or better functionalities that make the product way better from time to time. So that's one thing about a product manager. Now you have a product owner, and if you look at these two things, they sound somehow the same. Like you can say like Angie, she's a product owner, and Grace is the product manager. Like what's the difference between them? Okay, so the difference between a product owner and a product manager is the product owner manages the work being done to build the product, while the product manager manages like the process, like how the concept of the product and the process of which the product is going to be like made. So, like let's say um the timelines and every other thing. Why the product owner makes sure that everybody is actually doing what they're supposed to do. Everybody is actually meeting their targets. Tickets are actually being created for problems that are happening. It manages. They do what they call Scrum. Scrum. They are the Scrum managers. They do what they call Scrum. Like if you work in an engineering team, especially if they use Agile. I think maybe we can do we can do a class and a webinar on Agile, so people will understand what Agile is. And so I might have a product manager come to talk to a product owner and manager, like they've done both, come talk to us about like Agile and Scrum because it's something very important that people need to know. So they also make sure that they also give updates on work being done, and they also make sure that the delivery, like the the delivery from inception to release is smooth. So the product owner makes sure that it's just trying to remove blockers from people's ways, trying to ensure that everybody gets to do the work. I swear, like between these two guys in teams, people prefer product owner to product manager. You know why? Because product owner is somehow closer to you. They really understand your kind of problem because you're trying to make sure that everybody's just doing the work well and they're trying to like be with you. Sometimes you mount pressure, but you kind of understand their own like I'm just talking from personal experience. So why product managers will just come up with something and just mention one feature from nowhere, and I mention like they work with the UI UX designer and just come and mention like some flows that they've come up with. And you're like wondering like how. So the product owner manages all those flows, like how a task is how different sprints are being done. So they like when the product manager comes up with like features that they want to add to the app and maybe like things they want to like do and they want the team to do and how each team member does. The product owner goes takes it a little further and tries and breaks it down into separate tasks. After they break it down into separate tasks, they assign it with concept from the team members also involved, every stakeholder involved, the team members involved, so the engineers, the designers, and the technical leads also. They now assign the tickets and give them like expectations, like deadlines on where everything has to be done. So they create milestones, they create release cycles, they do different stuff there, and you just manage it. And if you have a very good product owner, the things people will be meeting targets way faster. I think there was a time that in my team they just give us some stuff. Even like last week, we had two major things to do. We're supposed to release for Kenya, a feature for Kenya. We're supposed to expand to Kenya, and we're also supposed to release for a new network that is based that just came out, and we're not very sure about. But when the product owner was very able to like manage it in such a way that we're able to release that stuff by on Wednesday. When we had an entire week, we were able to release it on Wednesday. We had like 2 days extra to go and rest and do some other stuff around the company. So that was one thing about product owners. They ensure that things are done in time and things are managed well. Um, yeah. So let's now talk about the UI UX designer. So UI UX designer is mostly like, let's say you know what the designer is. A designer makes designs things like designs products, designs different kinds of stuff. So you have something called a graphics designer that designs graphical products. You have like different kind of stuff. A designer is not an artist. So they don't do like painting, they don't do like random stuff. Their design is always problem based. It's always trying to meet the needs of the customer. So they do like small research. They ensure that the experience of the user's experience is getting better and better as they use the app. So as they build the app, they make sure that every single experience, every single touch point makes sense in that business need, and they try to make sure do it in such a way that it really meets the needs of the customer. So a UI UX designer, when he designs an application, he designs the interface, he designs the look and feel. He also now designs the experience. The experience is how you use an app. Like I've used some very beautiful apps that were frustrating. Like I've used Asana. Asana is a beautiful app, but I don't know if they've improved the app or so. It was very frustrating because to do one simple stuff, I had to go to click on this, click on this, click on this. There was so many things I had to click on for me to just do one simple thing of creating a task. But when I used um I know people will be angry, but when I used Jira, it was just simple because where I was to click to create something, it was just right there. I could just click on it and create it. And people were ranking Asana better than Jira, maybe because of the UI or so. But I was like, no, Jira is actually better than Asana because even though Jira is not as fine, I can actually do something with Jira because the UI, the person who designed the UI also talked about the user experience that that actual users are going to feel. So they're trying to make things as less complicated as possible for people to be able to easily use the app, use a product, and get the benefits from that product. And one thing is that if you don't design your application well, users will not use it again. So if your application is not well designed, like for example, now you want to buy something from like somebody sends you an e-commerce app and you want to buy something from it and you're clicking everywhere. Like for example, now let's say you want to buy something and you're just clicking everywhere, and all of a sudden you just want to buy one thing, and all of a sudden you cannot buy it. It's just taking you through different steps, taking you to different distance, tell you to do this stuff, do this kind of stuff. Before you buy your stuff, you just flash that website and go to on our website that can do your thing. So that's one thing about UI UX designer. You have to ensure that the application is designed in such a way that it meets the needs of the customer, to ensure that the experience also is very good, and to also make sure the site is beautiful and fine, because you can have like very good experience, but if the site is not fine, nobody will like it, nobody will want to use it. So, and accessible also. Now you have the UX researcher. I didn't know about these people until like last 2 years, and I knew about them. I did a course about UX last 2 years, so and I knew about like the UX, total UX, and some other stuff. So user experience researcher, what they do is that they user experience researcher, like the name, the meaning is in the name. So what they do is that they research on user experience on different products, and also including the product that like the user's experience in the app, and trying to like improve and get insights on how users can actually like how they you can actually provide better experience for the users, or maybe particular segment of users like you can we can like the company can actually reach out and create products for that could also be of benefits to the company, as also be of benefits to more users, like create more revenue, because everybody wants to make more money. So anything to get users to love your product more. Use the user research engineer and user research user experience researcher is in charge of that, just making sure the product is just sweet, the product really meets needs, and they do like different research. They make like different papers. They also do like what's the name, I just call it like classes, and so because sometimes it can be long, and so when they do like extensive um listen, they also do what they call they also engage with what they call what's it called, user testing, with the UI UX designer, where they do like user testing. So in user testing, they actually bring out the prototype of the product, not the actual product, how the product is supposed to work, look like, or work, and they start testing with users. So when they do that user testing, they now understand, okay, maybe this thing we're doing doesn't really make sense. Let's improve it. Let's do this, or they kind of get feedback from users on what users didn't really like and what they could improve on the product. That's a user and a UX researcher. Then we now have an illustrator. Like an illustrator, they're not very popular in this thing, but if you have an illustrator, what the illustrator does is that it creates all these icons for the app, all this unique this thing, all these unique assets that can be used within an application. For example, now when you go to Twitter, before like Elon Musk took over, there were some unique, like the home button was unique, because the home button had, it looked like a birdhouse. The home icon looked like a birdhouse, and that was because of Twitter was a bird. Do you understand what I mean? So that's how the illustrator like made those kind of icons. So icons, all these small details within an app, the colors, some small shapes, some irregular shapes, and some other things. Some illustration like you see like somewhere you see like animation of payments being done. Like if you go to an payment app, you see like a card going into somewhere, or like maybe let's say like a paper plane flying around the globe. And so an illustrator, these illustrators, they're the ones that do those kind of things. All these kind of sweet things that make customers really happy and maybe like enjoy the product more. They're the ones that do it. A UI UX designer can also do like be an illustrator, can also double as an illustrator. But when you have a very good illustrator, like a very good brand designer slash illustrator, um, they really do things like to a different level. They really carry things to a different level. And a product analyst, so the product analyst, what they do is more business based. What they do is that they actually analyze the products and find out like how the product has performed within a particular period, and what can be done to improve the product. So they do research, extensive research on the product. They do like how users have been using it. They look at analytic data. They look at all this kind of stuff to know what they can improve on the product, and maybe things are not really doing well. Maybe after the user research and everything has gone on, and they agreed, okay, let's build this feature for users. They now discover that users, even though they say they want to use this product, they want to use this feature, they're not actually using it as though. So sometimes you may like to drop some products, some things, because people are not using it. Do you understand me? People are not actually making use of it. So there's no need to keep on keeping it there. You have to now drop it and concentrate on features that users really want. So those are what product analysts do. They analyze the product. They do some other stuff. They do some more advanced stuff, but this is it for them. So these are around the product team. So you have the growth slash creative team, and these are the people that are responsible for the good image of the company around the world. So like for the good image or how the company is being perceived by users, they are the ones that are in charge of it. So you have, first of all, you have the brand strategist. That's the first person. He's one in charge of the entire creative team. So he's the one in charge of the entire creative team. So the entire creative team, the community manager, and all this kind of stuff. So he sets out the strategy on how they will go around acquiring users, how they will go around just giving this thing different initiatives they can do, different kinds of marketing ideas that they can come up with to actually like boost sales, to actually like get more people interested, to get more clients if they are if it's an agency, to get more people interested, to even do events and all this kind of stuff. The brand strategist is the mastermind behind all these things. So you have a very good brand strategist. They can prioritize sales, they can prioritize growth, they can prioritize different aspects. And so you have the content writer. This person is in charge of writing the content of the application of the entire stuff. So you have different kinds of content. You have the copywriter. The copywriter is the one that writes the copies that you see on the applications, you see on the websites, you see on products being used. So a copywriter writes content for products, writes content for sales, writes content in the end point of copywriting is to get people to actually buy something, to get people to actually engage, use a particular stuff, to actually engage with something, to actually what you're trying to do is that you're trying to create a funnel that will attract people in and get them to use something or get them to pay for something. That's why you need to have a very good copywriter. Also, a content writer can create like blog and articles that educate people about the product, educate people about maybe some aspects that are interesting about the product and some other things. That's what a content writer can do. So you can have like an article writer or a different type of content writer that does all this kind of stuff. They can write like extensive notes and all these things about like products. So that's one thing about content writer. So if you're a very good writer and you know how to write, you're very creative around writing, you can be a content writer for a company and they pay very well for it. I have a friend. She has written content for very huge companies like Airbnb. She has written for Hughes Suits, all these kind of very important companies around. So these are she has also written for Airtable. So once you're able to write very good content, very good engaging content, you're able to like boost a business, the brand image of the company, and also get more people to be interested in the company. You now have the social media manager. So you guys know what social media is now: Twitter, um, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these different points that you can meet users in. The social media manager manages the social media accounts of the company or the product. So they actually like all the social media posts that goes on, all the social media campaigns, every single stuff that goes on in social media, memes, every single thing. Like for example, now like we have very like you have very popular social media accounts in Nigeria, like for brands. Like Piggyverse has a very good like has a particular social media campaign where they do all this kind of funny videos of how people being broke, about like they do all this kind of funny animations and so just to get people to more interested in it. I think also All School has a very good social media campaign. Another company that has a very good social media campaign is although it's not a tech company, it's Chicken Republic. Chicken Republic always posts memes and stuff like that. When people are stressing it, they just post one funny picture there and people now start reacting, and to just, people are already angry with Chicken Republic, but the social media manager will just post something funny and apologize in a funny way. So people will not be more calm. Like before, when people are apologizing, maybe more formal ways, like using like formal language, and so people will be like, nah, we don't want to hear this stuff. But when you come and crack joke, I mean, just make people laugh, they just be more calm. They'll be like, okay, we forgive you for now, and some other things. So that's one thing about the social media manager. You now have the community manager. Community manager is in charge of like the community. So he forms the community, forms like a clique of users, of people, friends, makes friends with the customers, makes gets close to them, talks about them. Sometimes they can even give personal calls to the customers. Say, hey, how far now? How are you doing? How's your this thing? How far? Happy birthday. Do you understand what I mean? All these community managers, they form communities, they help, like for example, now if you're using a B2B product. What I mean by B2B is business to business product. For example, if you're using things like Airtable, like if you're using things like Brass, I think I was part of, I use Brass product, and they will add it to part of their community. So it's a community of business owners that are just starting up a small business, and you start talking, you start giving you insights, you start doing like classes for you guys, you start like trying to like tell you how to make best use of the product to actually maximize your business, to actually get more more um more benefits for your money, more benefits for your work, more benefits for how to actually get more customers, how to get things done very well. That's what a community manager does. He just makes things, creates activities around the company, creates activities around the users just to get them more excited about the product, more ready, more enthusiastic. They make announcements in the group. Maybe they create like WhatsApp group, Telegram groups, Discord channels. What other thing? They create like Facebook groups, they create like Twitter communities and stuff like that. Where they talk to people, they do like Twitter spaces, they run like webinars, and so just to get more people interested, and just to get people like to make people feel like they're part of the company. Do you understand me? Like for example, now there are some companies that people can, if you insult them, it's not even the employees of the company that will talk for them. It's the people that use the users itself that will fight you. Do you understand? I mean, the users are so close to the company that they feel like they are the company itself. For example, now let's say Apple. Now, if you insult Apple anyhow, like you insult a MacBook, who will come and fight you on social media? They'll be like, how will you say that? Why you will say that about Apple? Like if you come and fight, let's say Piggyverse. I said Piggyverse is a corrupt company. With the way they build their community and everything, people are going to fight you. People are going to drag you. You know, it's like people are really going to drag you because you cannot just say things about, because they build their company community very well. Unlike some communities like Patricia that is causing problems up and down. And maybe there's one funny one that happened the other time. But you can give like, I'm sorry for mentioning those names, but you can see like very good examples of companies that have like very good social media management and very good community managers that actually create like a clique, create like a community, like people, like it just feels like a family. Although it's not a family, sure, it feels like a family with that brand. So people now feel like they are part of the brand. They feel like they are part of, like, I'm a I'm a big saver. I'm a Paystack user. I use Paystack for my business. I use Paystack shop and stuff like that. So, and they have like cliques, they have like activities they do together and some other stuff where they feel like they are part of, like they belong to a particular class of people. So that's what the community manager does. You have the graphics designer. What the graphics designer does is that um they work on graphics. So this is kind of like posters, things they post on social media, things they do for like ads, things they use for campaigns, things they use for their events, all this kind of stuff. Every single graphics line is involved. So Evelyn is in charge of all those things. So Evelyn, when you talk to her, hey, create a design for this campaign we're trying to do, create a design for all these things. They make all these flyers, these posters, and all this kind of stuff. That are just important, like um maybe goodwill message and smaller stuff, things for their email copies and smaller stuff. I forgot to add email marketer here, but I think it's on that content writer where you can have like an email you can also have Julie doing it. Although I think in sales and marketing is also a broad team also because it goes more advanced. But let's say Julie is managing sales and marketing. So different kinds of way of reaching people, ads, through targeted campaigns, through referral activities. You just create all this kind of stuff that actually incentivize people to actually use the products. Do you understand? They create like sales funnels. They create all these things to get people more into the product. So they create funnels, a sales funnel. They create like different strategies, different marketing strategies to get people. They do things like upselling, um, cross-selling and some other stuff just to get people to be more interested in the broad range of products that a particular tech company has, or broad range of services that can be met by the tech company. So that's one thing about them. They can also go and meet one-on-one with stakeholders. They can do like outreach. They can actually go to the houses of people. Like for example, now if you have like a healthcare startup that you're trying to like do partnership with hospitals, you can't just put a website out there and just expect doctors to just use it like that. Nobody will use, like a few people, only your family members and your close friends will use it. But if you want to reach out to more people, you have to have these salespeople go out there. Like you have to mobilize them. You have to go to those hospitals. You have to have representatives there, getting them in, training their staff on how to use their product and some other stuff, getting them to use that product, to use the distance, to see the benefits for them, creating deals and all this kind of stuff. So you have a sales and marketing. Those are what they do, just to get more people to like buy into the product and use it. So that's in for the growth and marketing team. Now let's talk about the internal team. So the first and important person you need to know there is the HR. If you work for a company before, everybody has the HR and human resource management. This thing, the ones in charge of every single stuff around like your welfare, discipline around the company, um, different kinds of stuff. Like if you want to take leave of absence and some other stuff, they have to make sure that they're always involved in all those things. Making sure everybody understands like the community, the company's core values and all these things. They ensure they keep this thing. So it's about managing people and managing the human resource, making sure everybody is motivated and also in line. You understand, well behaved and keeping to being disciplined around their things. So they actually create all those policies around the company for that. You now have the head of communications. The head of communications is like things that handle like different announcements across the company, different things, different information people need to know. Maybe the company has secured funding and people within the company also needs to know about that funding that the company has secured. Maybe the company wants to do like a partnership with another brand. People within the company also need to know. Company wants to sell to a different shareholder. So people in the company need to know this is happening within it. So you have the head of communications. They handle communications, even with media teams and some other stuff. They handle that stuff. They have team that manages accounts. This is like salary. You understand? Very important. Without team now, you won't have a team. So, pun intended. So, what I'm trying to say is that somebody that manages accounts, payments, how finances is being managed in the company are very important. So, you have team that manages all this stuff. You have Marcos. Marcos is the talent manager. So he manages talent. What it means by talent manager is that they ensure that the talent are constantly being trained, they're constantly being developed. They're getting quality people in. Do you understand me? So they look for very good quality people. Sometimes they actually handle hiring. Sometimes you can also call them the hiring managers also. They handle hiring. They also ensure that they get like the best of the best team and people to join the team. So we can call them like scouts or hiring managers or talent managers. Any different name you can talk. Why I call them talent managers is because they don't just do hiring. They also ensure that the people they hired also are always like keeping informed. You understand, being well informed with what is going on, ensuring that they have like training initiatives that keep them well trained, well versed. You understand, up to date with what is going on, so you can compete with your competitors, and so You have culture and people. So those are the ones that create like all those. They make people happy within the company. You understand? So there are people. They are like the social people within the company. They're everybody's friends, except for people that like to mind their business. Um, they disturb those people to be more social, even though they want to be quiet. But Ada is somewhere that does people culture and people. So the company culture, making sure everybody's in with the company's culture, making sure everybody's like vibing at the same frequency, making sure everybody's enjoying themselves. They create like company events within the company, like birthday parties, internal like let's say end of the month, what's the name? There's something you call it something that you come and celebrate like achievements for the end of the month and some other stuff, ensuring that everybody within the company is happy, everybody within the company, they're just managing people and ensuring that things are going on well. Then you have prior, and she's a legal distance. So if you're a lawyer, you studied law, or you studied anything related to law, or you studied law, you need companies need you. Do you understand me? Because there are a lot of things that happen, without a legal team in a company, without having like a legal backing, things could stop. A lot of things could stop. So you need a legal team. It's very important. You need a legal team. They help with managing anything legal, anything maybe lawsuits. You want to sue someone or someone is suing you. You want to ensure that your content is protected. You want to ensure that your product, nobody is pirating your product, nobody is doing anyhow the kind of things you build. Nobody is stealing your code, and so your employees are not stealing, won't steal something and go away. You have a legal team to ensure all those things are done. To also create policies around like different worlds, like different kind of governments. So sometimes they also ensure that the company can register in different countries. So if you have a very good legal advisor or legal personnel, person can actually get your company registered in different countries. Like let's say you're a Nigerian company, and the company wants to expand to Kenya. A legal personnel, someone who's in charge of legal, I've forgotten their name again. Like they have a specific name for them. They can ensure that company gets registered in Kenya. They handle everything there. You, as the CEO or the owner of the company, you don't have to worry about it. That's their headache. They handle this kind of stuff. Make sure the company is keeping to the rules of that particular country. Like for example, let's say, let me not mention something that let me mention something that is somehow controversial here, but it's somehow like people are used to doing it abroad. Let's say LGBTQ stuff. In America, they can allow that kind of stuff. They can allow that kind of problem. They can do like LGBTQ products there. But if you go to the Middle East, you can't do that kind of rubbish in Middle East. You can't do that kind of stuff in Middle East. You cannot do LGBTQ stuff. They don't allow it. It's against their law. You understand what I mean? So the legal team ensures that they don't do those kind of stuff. They actually obey the laws of particular nations in which they are serving. You understand me? So why they're celebrating something else in a particular country, if the country outlaws it there, you can't do it. For example, now, let's say you're celebrating in China, you're celebrating the year of the pig. You can't just come to Nigeria and say you're celebrating the year of the pig in Nigeria. What is that? Do you understand me? Like, what is that? What is that? You can't celebrate any Chinese New Year in Nigeria because of like legal implications. There are some things that you can do in Nigeria and you go to jail. Do you understand me? So you have to have a very good legal team. So let's go to the final people, and that's the leadership team. The oversee this thing. So these are all the C's. Chief, or everybody is chief here. So you have the chief executive officer. These are the ones in charge of every, like, they are the representatives. They are kind of like the face of the company. They manage like different aspects around growth. They make sure that the company is constantly growing, making sure the company has access to funding, making sure the company is growing year on year, making sure the company is hitting their targets, and so they oversee everything. Sometimes they are the founder of the company, sometimes they are not the founder, and they don't have to be the founder of the company to be. In fact, you can be a founder of the company and not be the CEO. It's possible. So they are chief executive officer. They ensure like every single administrative thing is done well within a company. Yeah, you now have the chief technical officer. The chief technical officer is someone that is in charge of every single thing tech related, every single thing like tech related, every single thing that has to do with building the product and so they manage like the product team and the engineering team, especially the engineering team. They ensure they are keeping standards, they ensure things are done very well, they ensure that the product is up to class, and so they ensure that they're also creating like they're using the latest technologies, they are doing things, they are designing the system in such a way that they are meeting up with the new trends that are coming up there. Like for example now, let's say AI is 18 now. The CTO try to find a way of incorporating AI into what they are building in a particular company. Like I can see like many companies now are doing AI, even Canva, they brought out what they call magic, and so it's kind of like the CTO. The CTO actually plans that vision within everybody to actually incorporate that stuff within the products that they are building. So you have the COO. The CEO manages operations there, so things around sales, things around growth, things around marketing, things around how day-to-day activities like reaching out activities is being done. They manage all those kind of stuff. Different like whatever the growth team is trying to plan, they also have to and keep in touch with the COO to let the COO know. And yeah, and that's it. You also have there are different other rules there, but these are the basic rules in the tech industry. So we're going to go into like common skills that people need like in this is so that like, interpersonal skills. So one important thing that you will need to actually get a role in tech is very good interpersonal skills. You're going to interact with people on a daily basis. You're going to interact with groups. You're going to interact with customers. You're going to interact with clients. You're going to interact with shareholders or stakeholders. So you need to know how to behave yourself in those kinds of scenarios. So number one is empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So you need to have empathy. You understand? Your customer is having a problem with this app. You won't just shun the customer and say, "Hey, you're not smart. You're very dumb. Why can't you use the product very well?" Other people are figuring it out. No, you need to put yourself in the shoes of the customer. Try to understand, hey, why is this customer feeling this way? What can I do to help out this customer and make sure that I alleviate the problem that this customer is feeling? Now collaboration, ability to work with others. So you're working with people of your team, and everybody has a different way of doing things. Everybody has their own unique way, unique style, unique way of communicating, unique way of doing their stuff. So you need to know how to collaborate with every single member of your team to make sure you're meeting a common goal. So that's collaboration. You need to have very good communication skills, both in speaking and in writing, because especially in formal companies, you're going to do a lot of writing. You're going to be writing reports. You're going to be writing emails sometimes. You're going to be writing something. So you need to be very good at writing and also very good at giving very good details because if you're an engineer, if you're working within sprints, you'll be doing what you call stand-ups, where you're giving updates of what you did and you need to communicate clearly what you've done. And I've seen somebody get fired because the person was very bad at communicating in my company. The person was very bad at communicating. The person was good though, but the person was very terrible at communicating. This person got fired because of that. So if you're very terrible at communicating, you're sounding very vague, you're not sounding very confident, and so it could affect your stay in the company or could affect you even your ability to get this thing. So you have problem solving. Is also this is very important for engineering teams and also for broad teams also. Ability to solve problems, to solve difficult or complex problems. Negotiation, you have to be able to negotiate, you understand? Also when you're dealing with customers also negotiate, try to like get what they need, the kind of price they need and all this kind of stuff. If you're working for an agency, if you're working for an agency is like a team that builds products for other people. Like you build like apps for other people. Like you don't build your own products, you build for other people. You need to have very like if you're in the marketing team or yeah, if you're in the marketing team, you're in the growth team, you need to have very good negotiation skills because you don't want to lowball yourself. You want to ensure that your company is getting the best deal out there. So you need to like negotiate very well. You need to have very good negotiation skills. Also, negotiation skills is also good in like even in tax you're trying to do. You have to really to negotiate it to make sure that it's not too taxing on you. It's not too. It's not too hard. It's broken down very well, and also like your pay, you have to be able to negotiate it very well because sometimes they might just tell you one low salary. And if you have very bad negotiation skills, they might be paying you half of what they are paying other people, and you won't know. You won't know. So you have to have very good negotiation skills. You also have tolerance, ability to work with people, even though people will step on your toes, even though people will do a lot of foolish stuff. You need to have very good tolerance, ability to. Some people have views that are different from yours. And you have to have very good tolerance. I think that's the end of the class. Does anybody have any question that they want to ask? Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Okay, nobody has a question. All right. So if you don't have a question, um, let me ask someone a question. So Amenze, tell me a particular skill, interpersonal skill that is not listed here that you actually apply at work. You hear what I said, Amenze? Um, where is it?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. I didn't get your question.
Okay, tell me about a skill, an interpersonal skill you were able to apply to you apply to your work, your current work right now, or your current like interaction with people. What kind of skill do you apply that maybe gives
Yeah,
so
problem solving skills because um yes, problem solving skills. That's one of them.
okay, how do you apply problem solving?
Okay, what I do, what we do is we have a kind of customer service where you have to attend to customers to actually know their concerns. So trying to resolve whatever the issue they have. So um, always try to not to make the customer because they say customers are always right. You always try to make sure a customer never left because in anger, kind of you're not you didn't attend to him or her very well. So always have to make sure that whatever it is, give them listening ears to be sure that whatever it is resolved and resolved on time. So that's it.
Like, thank you very much. Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
Ademola. Um, is it Akeus Sola? I can't pronounce your first name, but I think I can pronounce the one with Ademola. Um, were you able to share like a desired skill, a kind of like interpersonal skill that you apply at work or in relationship with other people? Okay, if I don't get response from Demola, I'll just move on to the next question. Chukuka, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you tell me a particular interpersonal skill you were able to apply, like within your work, and how it helps your work, like any interpersonal skill you apply?
Um, it's first it revolves around ability to um, coordinate. Like presently, what I do is photography. using one of the weddings I shot last as example. I found out that the clients were not coordinated. They were not coordinated to the extent that provision for my own accommodation was not done. So, and see, analyzing all this a night before their wedding, I saw how they were running around and all. I don't need to impose it on them right there that they must provide all those things which they couldn't provide. All I did was to sort it out myself and um, kept my receipts so that they can do the needful later. So I think I have that ability to just analyze the situation of things going on and find a way to um, balance things without causing more havoc when a solution is needed. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You answered. Thank you very much. That's very good. Like, especially when you discover that it's especially in their wedding day, you don't want to put them under pressure again because they're already in pressure for their wedding day, no reception, all
Yeah,
these things. So I
yeah,
understand all this kind of stuff. So that's why people have like wedding managers now that manage all these things for them. So I get where you applied empathy to understand that they might be stressed out, like put imposing on them to provide all these things right now. They won't have the time to do that kind of thing. And also
yeah,
being able to like solve the problem yourself, being able to like come up with solution for yourself. That is also something that is very important because sometimes they might just give you like in every work, they might just give you something and they won't provide you with context, they won't provide you with what you have to find a way of solving the problem yourself, find a way around particular problems on your own. You understand me? So
yeah.
it's something that you need
Yeah.
to do. I think that's one thing about taking initiative and every other stuff. Does anybody have anything to share? Um, Solomon Douglas, you want to share something?
Please, can you come again?
I was talking about interpersonal skills, maybe where you applied interpersonal skills in your personal life, personal in work or in like in your life, like where you've applied interpersonal skills.
Okay, that should be at work. It should be at work because okay, I remember a time that we we actually had a lot of tasks on our table, and we ought to be communicating with HOD on the progress of our work. At a point, it got so stuck that yeah, we were not seeing any this thing, a kind of what to do and what not to do. At that point, we had to come together, and the best thing we can do is to communicate the problem. You know, we try to talk, we try to speak up, we try to talk, communicate to ourselves, and look for ways we can actually solve that, like solve the problem. First of all, we had to like put ourselves in the users, the people that are going to use this product, and the frustration we feel that they might face. We try to note them down, looked at these things, and of course, if we are the user and we are not at the back end, we will be frustrated, we'll complain, make a lot of complaints. So we listed out those frustrations that are likely to come up if the products we have at hand is misbehaving or not going well as planned. And after that, we actually looked for possible ways to solve those problems. We tried to solve those problems in a way that if this product goes out, we have already gotten a solution. Just in case if it comes up, we already have a solution for it, so our customers won't be easily frustrated, because once they get frustrated, we already have a solution for them to cover up. And that's one of the things I know. Actually, I work in a place where there's it's more of a teamwork. So when we show problem solving, we actually do it together. Majorly, we do more of teamwork. They're not just like a personal kind of something, but it's majorly of teamwork. So when we do when we solve problem, it's kind of a teamwork to solve that problem. Yeah.
So more like collaboration, problem solving, and empathy. Yeah, yeah. Thanks everyone. Clinton, you want to share your own? I think you'll be the final person.
Okay, I think one of the skills that are missing here is prioritization skills and conflict resolution skills. Prioritization is that, as a product manager, I come in a situation whereby there are so many things to be done. When you're translating product vision to product strategy and product development, there are so many decisions to make. You have to prioritize which goes first, which should be in the MVP, and which should be later. When you're managing the life cycle of a product, then you have to actually have that skill, that personal skill where you prioritize things, one thing over the other. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many startups these days are just like they're dishing out features that don't have any real impact or value to their users, where they have so many features that turn into feature factories. Is they need to have a very good prioritization skills, so you're able to prioritize which comes first and what you go to the market with in the initial level and the growth stage. And so I think it's a very important skill. Then conflict management is I've been in a project whereby there is conflict between the founders and such. So you need to be able to have skills to de-escalate such situations and get everybody on track while collaborating together, while communicating together. Everybody should be on track and always find a common ground. So you need to have that conflict resolution skills. It's a personal skill and prioritization skills. So I think those are the skills I'm missing here that are also very important and vital to any successful startup.
Yeah, so true. Like conflict resolution. I remember like sometimes especially I think I've done that kind of stuff where we had to resolve between ourselves, me and my UI UX designer. So he was talking about a particular thing not working the way it was supposed to be. But I was trying to explain to him that that's how browser APIs work. I can't just break it down. It's going to cause more problems to the user, even though it doesn't look at the way he built it out. But it's kind of like the ideal way it's supposed to be like. And so after we had that argument, and so we were able to like explore things, and he was able to like see my own point of view and see what I was trying to explain to him. And he just made a few corrections that I just made we need time. But I think after we had that conversation, he was able to now fully understand and appreciate more like how like the browser works and how like sometimes making features that actually break how things work fundamentally. Do you understand? It can be more problematic than um, useful and can cause like delays and unnecessary problems along the line. So we're able to like come into that concession and be able to like we're able to like come into come into a what do we call it, a consensus of what to do and get along with that. So I think that's tolerance, and so we're going to meet all those kind of things. So like from the different teams, I think the only team I've not talked about here is the data team, and I'll just write on that more. Um, some other stuff, but very importantly, even though I didn't talk about the data team, we're going to be having in our next webinar, we're going to be talking about introduction to data science, how to break into like data science and some other stuff, which is going to be very interesting. We're going to have like a very seasoned speaker. He works for Deloitte, currently works for Deloitte in Nigeria. If you guys know what Deloitte is, it's a very big international conglomerate, and they do all this kind of consulting for very worldly companies. So he's going to be talking about data like data science, everything, because his entire life is data. That's what he has been doing for a very long time. So he's going to talk about that. We're going to have him talk about, and he's going to just share his vast knowledge on that. So it's something that I want you guys to look forward to and doing that kind of stuff. So thanks for joining tonight's class. Have a great one, everyone. Good night.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. I
Yeah,
appreciate.
thank you. Good night.
Good night, all.